Ross Stripling joining us right now, wearing San Francisco Giants proud on his sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Show Kratzy. Did you get your apartment yet? Tell him you got a home now.
Yeah, we got a house, man. Yeah, I got 2 kids. That was the first thing we did, man. Set them up. So we're in good shape.
Yeah, but I mean, I know it's not in San Fran. You're only making $25 million in the next 2 years. You can't live in the city of San Francisco. So you're commuting like, are you even in California?
Just barely, yeah, right on the border.
Right.
I'm gonna have to train. I'm gonna have to train in, and then no, we're good, man. We're close. It's gonna be fun.
Good.
Kratzy, did you guys play together? And Strip, sorry, usually I ask him beforehand, but no, exactly. You would think that you guys played together for 10 years. He's all over you already, Strip. You can give him shit back.
Yeah, no, I mean, we played in some playoff games against each other, man. I feel like I remember Kratzy well. Always heard good things about him. And then when you got, for one, congrats on the show, guys. Definitely looking forward to coming on a bunch. Talked to Kratz on the phone and we just hit it off immediately. And he was like, "You want to come on?" And I was like, "Yeah, have me as much as you guys want." So I can tell this is going to be a good time.
No doubt. And I mean, the new baby, like, we're going to get right into it here. Like, the new baby still got the new car smell, 2 weeks old?
2 weeks old, man. Just over 2 weeks old. Yeah, it's been a crazy spring. It's made it go by so much faster, honestly, because I pitched a Sunday. I flew home that night. We had a baby Monday morning, and then I got that whole turn at home, came back, and then pitched the next day. So I got that week off, but it was like right in the middle of spring. So it made spring training go by so fast, man. I can't. We're flying out here tomorrow. I mean, that just blows my mind.
Did you play any catch on, during the time that you were home? Like, were you out of the hospital? Because I know some guys do it differently.
The first couple of days, no. I was walking around like the hospital parking garage looking for like a place to throw some plyo balls to no avail. And, luckily everything went great with the birth. His name is Brody. And after 2 days, we were able to take him home. So I got another like 2.5 days at home where I was able to get some stuff done and actually went down to Rice and threw a bullpen there. So I was able to get some work in. It wasn't great. It was probably the worst bullpen I threw in my life. And I'm not even sure I was awake for it. But, came back and was able to actually pitch 5 innings and stay healthy, which is all you can ask for after something like that. So, feeling good and family's doing good back home. Looking forward to getting them out in the Bay when I get out there.
Hey, Ross, how does it feel to be reunited with your best friend, Alec Wood, man? That's Alex Wood. How does that feel?
Alec. It feels great, man. It really does. Alex, just hit it off with him immediately in LA. He was in my wedding, like one of my best friends for sure. And then Jock was my AA roommate. Kapler was my minor league coordinator, and Farhan was an assistant GM in my time in LA. So a lot of familiar faces. So that's good. Coming into the locker room, we're used to it, right? You're used to moving up levels or getting traded or whatever it is. We're used to making new friends on a whim and joining new teams. But it's good to have some familiar faces in there that make you feel more comfortable. And Alex, specifically on the pitching side, pick his brain about, what we do over here, who I can go to for certain things, which PT he likes the most, all that kind of stuff that we start asking each other. And it's been great, man. It's honestly, it feels like a family reunion in a way.
Now you're saying we, and you're wearing the Giants. You're kind of in enemy territory after your hiatus to the Big North. But being an LA Dodgers, now you're with the Giants. Are you guys taking it? Are you guys taking it personally that nobody's picking you guys to win the West or even come in second place in the West?
Like a little bit, right? I feel like, but also there's kind of a chip on the shoulder of being the underdog and being the guy that, way more star power in LA and San Diego. But we're like a sneaky veteran team. Like our whole pitching staff is essentially in free agency besides Webb, who's our best guy, starting opening day for us. And, we go out and get Haniger and Conforto and to come in with Crawford and Jock. Like we have a sneaky veteran team, like guys that have been around, played in big games, won rings, and know how to play the game at a high level and play in the big leagues, right? So we're kind of like a sleeping giant in a way. Well, this pun not intended, but I'll walk right into it. So I feel like we kind of like the position that we're in, where everyone's talking about the Dodgers, everyone's talking about the Padres, rightfully so, but we're right there. We're 2 years away, 2 years removed from winning 107 games, and have a lot of trust in Farhan and what he does and how he puts lineups out on the field and how he gets a competitive advantage doing the way kind of platooning and doing what he does. And man, we're confident. We feel like we're ready to rock, and you can tell season right around the corner, and we're ready to get it going.
Who do you think right now is going to have the career year? I mean, you mentioned a lot of guys that are like, whoa, like, Mitch Haniger. I love Mitch Haniger. Is he going to
Yeah.
come back? Conforto. I mean, that dude is just banging sinkers over the seats and left. Like, who is a guy that you're like, whoa, we got this guy for X amount? Holy crap, like, steal.
Yeah, you know who it is so far for me is Manea. And I know he's coming off probably a frustrating year for him, but he kind of reinvented some stuff this offseason at Driveline, which, people hear all the time. They go to Driveline, they learn some new stuff, they get on some plyo balls, they learn how their body moves, get with the biomechanics things. And man, he looks great. He's throwing hard. His stuff looks good. I play catch with him. It hits it as hard at 200 feet as it does at 60 feet. I mean, he's like got that real, just like a heavy ball, and he's just looked really good. And honestly, if we're all healthy, which we are at the moment, we have 7 big league starters. So it'll be interesting to see how we get used. And you can never have too much pitching. But, to answer your question, Sean Manea feels like a steal right now because he just, really, he's been great his whole career besides for a little scuffle last year. And if we can get him just back to his normal self, that's such a huge weapon for us because I don't know if he'll throw 180 innings or if he'll throw out of the bullpen or a mixture of both or what, but he's just a huge weapon that we're going to have at any time, which is awesome.
Hey, Ross, on that question, what you were saying, I'm trying to piggyback a little bit. Do you like starting pitching better, or do you like coming in relief like the swingman? What do you like there?
Yeah, you know what, man, there's no better gig in the world than being a starting pitcher in the big leagues. I can promise you that. Throwing 100 pitches and getting 5 days off, that's a pretty nice job. I'll sign up for that all day. I think my arsenal fits better as a starter. I'm a guy that throws 5-6 pitches, anytime. I feel like, third time through the order, guys should still not have any idea what's coming as much as they did the first at bat. But I will say pitching out of the bullpen is a ton of fun. It really is. As far as like the phone ringing, a shot of adrenaline, you're up and you're like getting hot and you're coming in a big situation. You're also part of like a group of like 8 or 9 guys down there that have a lot of pride in themselves and what they do for the team. And they don't get a lot. They're like the offensive line, right? They don't get a lot of love. So there's like some bitterness and some saltiness down there. It's just being in the bullpen is maybe more fun, to be honest, but I'll take the starting gig in the big leagues all day.
Hey, Russ, you've always had one of the best attitudes about that, and it's made you super valuable as a player. What do you tell a player that's like, I only want to start? I'm not going to name names, but there are definitely guys that have been both publicly vocal or guys that I've just been around in a clubhouse that are like, I'm pissed. I don't know what my role is, or I just want to be a starter. I remember even years back, I think you gave a great line at one point where you were like, I could be the Kike Hernandez of the Dodgers. You can put me anywhere in a pitching situation. That's the attitude a team wants to hear, and you're genuine about it. So what do you think about guys that get stubborn about wanting to be a starter, and what would you tell them?
Yeah, and I've told many guys before because I've kind of gotten, even how you're just talking about, kind of gotten the reputation as being the guy that does it and has done it and has had success doing it. So I've had a lot of people pick my brain about how to get it done. And really 2 things. The first one I say is go make 25 starts in AAA then if you want. That's how you're going to stay in the big leagues, man. It's a valuable role. And every team wants someone that does it well, someone that can bridge a short start to the back in the bullpen, can get a 3-inning save, can save innings for other pitchers. That's an extremely valuable role. And when I was young, I knew it's what kept me in the big leagues. So that was my mentality. And the other one that you kind of touched on, take your ego out of it, man. Like, who are you? I don't care if you were a first rounder. I don't care if Baseball America says you should make 30 starts for Team XYZ this year. You're in the big leagues, and you got 25 other guys around you that are counting on you to get outs when they hand you the ball. And I think you got to take your ego out of it and understand that this is an extremely valuable role. I am in the big leagues helping a team win games, and the alternate is me in Oklahoma City or Louisville or Charlotte or whatever, throwing 150 innings on a bus. And it just is always been a no-brainer for me. So when guys are struggling with that, I try to take your ego out of it and understand that what you're doing is extremely valuable, and we need you in that role, and there's a reason you're in that role. So I get kind of fired up, as you can tell, talking about it, because it does make me mad when guys are frustrated in that role.
We have like a social media team that's cutting this live. I hope they cut all of that up and they just blast it out there, because that is such an awesome mentality. Hit me with like, how did you come up with that? Because even your buddy Alex Wood, the dude was a first rounder. he has been. I mean, he's never in the minor leagues. Like you
Yeah.
took till you were 26 when you were in the big leagues. Did that shape it, or being around a guy like Alex Wood, who's he's just automatically going to be in the big leagues, but he's doing bullpen, he's doing starting, or was this like a Dodgers thing? What shapes that? Because that's important.
Yeah, well, I'm in my 8th year in the big leagues, right? So I've got my answer down now because I guess asked that question a lot for sure. What shaped it really was I started in the big leagues as a starter. I did fine, but not great. I got optioned all the way from the big leagues to Arizona, to the AZL, to basically revamp stuff. They wanted me to start throwing up in the zone. They wanted me to start tunneling my curveball with fastballs up in the strike zone and stuff that I just wasn't comfortable doing. But I bought into it. Another kind of thing, what we're talking about, you got to buy into it. These guys know what they're talking about. They knew that if I was going to have success in the big leagues, that's what I needed to do. So I did it, and I make my way back to the big leagues, but not as a starter. And I was doing the up and down thing, and could tell that if I was going to stay in the big leagues, I mean, we're talking about early Dodger years, man. You got like Kershaw and Rich Hill and Kenta Maeda, Brandon McCarthy, Brett Anderson, Hyun-Jin Ryu. Like there was nowhere in the rotation for me. So if I was going to pitch innings in the big leagues, it was going to be in that role. I wasn't going to be an 8th inning guy. I threw 90 miles an hour, So I was going to be a guy that was going to get 6, 7, 8, 9 outs and maybe go through the lineup once and finish a game when we were losing or winning by 5 or more, and I just accepted it. And I think it was a product of, being on a good team with the Dodgers where I knew that was my role. Now, if I was on a team that lost 100 games and I wasn't getting an opportunity, maybe a little ego comes into play. Maybe I'm saying, why am I not getting an opportunity? But I think to answer your question, it was just a product of being on the Dodger team that was great and had World Series expectations. And if I was going to help them win, it was going to be in that role. And I just accepted it and ran with it.
Hey, Ross, I'm always looking for the next best financial advice. Are you still doing any advisor stuff in the off season? Because I'm looking for a little 4 to 6% here somewhere so I can, keep building on my money. What do you got? You still doing that at all or no?
Yes, yeah, definitely, man. Hey, you can get 4 to 6% right now. You're still going to lose to inflation, but basically every big bank has their money market account paying you 4+% right now. So, safe money there for sure. I am not optimistic about the market over the next year or so. I just think there's not a whole lot we can point to and feel great about. But yeah, definitely still do it. I'm a licensed money manager, and I manage my money, my family's money, some friends and acquaintances, and it's been a rough last year and a half or so, but I see light at the end of the tunnel, and you just got to hang in there in times like this, man. The research and history shows you if you just can hold tight during times like this, you'll get paid. The stock market is the best way to create wealth long term, man. So everyone stick with it.
Do you think this is something that needs to be addressed more by Major League Baseball or maybe by the teams for the players? Do you think it's under addressed?
You know what? I would say no, honestly. I think when you're in a locker room, for one, these guys are making a decent amount of money, and you're kind of expected to become financially literate when you have that kind of money in your pocket. Guys are, they might talk about crazy stuff, some altcoins and crypto, some, wacky penny stocks and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. They're always trying to hit the home run. But for the most part, when you have money in your pocket, you're going to be very conscious of where it is, where it's going, and why it's going there. And, it maybe the Latin American guys are behind on stuff like that because they just aren't as exposed to it. And who knows if they even have financial guys or if they have someone taking care of their money. So I would maybe like to be able to help them out more than I can or than I do. But, really for the most part, the guys I see around in the locker room are very aware of where their money is and why it's there, and actually very smart when like a investment comes across them as far as how to dive into it and maybe invest into it. Because, when you have money, opportunities come up, and you got to be able to decide one versus the other and why you should do it or why not,
That's good stuff. Hey, the league just made a ton of money on the World Baseball Classic, and it was just amazing for the game. Ross, I want to finish with that. Your thoughts on the WBC, from how it looked, the Ohtani, Trout, the knocks for USA sometimes about pitching and how some guys are just being kind of overmanaged by their teams. And then you had mostly people loving what they saw, and then a few trash takes on Twitter from people probably just trying to get attention, or people that maybe don't like baseball.
Man, I feel like it had to have lived up to every expectations we could have had for it. I mean, I really do. For one, it ended up being a movie script, right? With Otani facing Trout with the whole tournament on the line. I mean, you couldn't have chalked it up any better than that. I mean, you heard stats like 97% of all of Japanese TVs were tuned into that at bat, you know. So, I mean, it was obviously a hit. It really was. You could tell that the players loved it. Every interview they gave at the end of it was like, this is the most fun I've had playing baseball in X amount of time, maybe ever. You know, get to wear the country across my chest, how much that means for everyone that talked about it, with the energy that those guys were playing with. The dude for, I think it was for Venezuela, the lefty that had like his whole shirt unbuttoned and he gets an out to win a game and he's just like going crazy on the field. I mean, you could just tell what it meant to those guys. So I think that's awesome. I mean, you hate to see injuries. Don't get me wrong. Between Diaz and Altuve, that's I hate that, but you know that is part of the game. And gosh, what's the other thing you asked about? I don't know. Any hot take? I think they're just wrong. That was like fun baseball played the right way on a massive stage, and it all came together as well as we could have hoped at a time when all of us are not necessarily at our best, at our most ready, and we still put an awesome product on the field for the entire world. I mean, I think anyone that didn't enjoy that, you just don't like baseball. I don't know. Then Major League Baseball is not for you either, because that was a ton of fun, and arguably the way baseball should look and be played. And I thought it was just great.
Simply put, I mean, there were so many "Are you not entertained?" kind of memes and gifs out there too. Like, what's not to like? I'm sorry. I mean, you know, you've played a lot of spring training ball. Do you want to watch a spring training game over Otani versus Trout in the WBC when they care more? You know, they care way more about that than how spring training's going. So I'm with you, Ross. That was awesome. Hey, great to have you on. Like you mentioned, we're pumped to have you on throughout the season. And I know Pierzynski, who's off today, but he'll be back on, is ready to get after it with you too. So good luck for opening day and all that, and we'll talk to you in a few weeks, all right?
Yeah, guys, good luck with the show. Look forward to getting on soon.
Thanks, Ross.